When did your love affair with music begin? When did your love affair with music begin? See, my love affair with music, I don't remember a time that I did not have a love affair with music. I can remember back when I was, probably 6, 7 years old, and I would literally take my bath towel and put it on my hair, and then I'd grab my mom's bobby pins and put it in to make sure that the towel stayed. Come on, I know some of y'all used to do that too, right? And you put the bobby pins in because you had your towel on your head, because that was your hair. And then I'd take my hairbrush and turn it around because that was my microphone, right? And then I'd put on my Natalie Cole album and I would sing with Natalie, "This will be an everlasting love, this will be." And then I'd switch it up and put on my Chaka Khan. "I'm every woman, it's all in me." Okay, I know I sound awful. I sounded awful then too, because I can't sing. But it was never about the sound that came out of me. It was about that sound that came from those artists. It was about the lyrics that just resonated in my soul. It was the combination of the lyrics and the music and the sound that just spoke to me. When did your love affair with music begin? I remember when I was, 9 or 10, and I started my own radio program. Yeah. And I had one of those cassette players, the ones that was about this long, the ones you push play and then you push fast forward, and you had the 2 buttons when you wanted to record, right? I know, I'm dating myself, but yes. And I would take my cassette player, and I was the DJ, I was the producer, I was the artist. So the DJ would introduce the artist, and I would sing the songs, and every now and then I'd have an interview. My parents. So I'd interview my parents, and I was also the commercial, right? And I would do the commercial. When did your love affair with music begin? And I remember the declaration when I was about 14 or 15. I'm gonna work in the music industry, and I'm gonna live in Atlanta. That was my dream. But let me put a little context around that for you. When I was saying that I was gonna live in Atlanta, I had never been. And when I was saying that I was gonna work in the music industry in Atlanta, there was no music industry in Atlanta. See, again, I'm gonna date myself. This was when L.A. Reid and Babyface Edmonds, right? This is when they were in the group The Deal, running around singing on tour, singing, what was that amazing song? Everybody knows it. I know if I sung it, y'all know it. Y'all remember that song, "I Only Think of You on 2 Occasions"? Come on, say it. What's that? Come on, I hear you, I hear you. Yeah, that song. See, they were running around touring, singing that song, and 2 of the most prolific producers out of Atlanta is Dallas Austin and Jermaine Dupri. They were in middle school. So when I was talking about I'm gonna live in Atlanta and I'm gonna work in the music industry, I literally sounded crazy. I sounded like I was gonna build hotels on Mars. And on top of that, my family, I'm from a small town in Kentucky. So no one knew anything about the music industry other than it was in Los Angeles, and it was in New York. All we knew about the music industry was Soul Train. But this was my dream. This was my dream. I'm gonna live in Atlanta and I'm gonna work in the music industry. When did your love affair with music begin? And so after I graduated from high school, I went to college at the University of Louisville. And when I got to the University of Louisville, I had this professor that said to me in a class, if you know what you love to do, or if you know what industry you want to work in, or if you know what profession that you want to pursue, research it. Find those executives and literally ask them to do a 15-minute informational interview with you. So bet, oh my God, I'm ready. I began to put my list of executives together, And I literally started the process of calling 20 to 25 record executives every week. Now, and again, I'm gonna date myself. This was before cell phones. This was before the computer. I know I look young, but I'm grown, right? This was before all of those amazing technological advances. So for me, I had to type 20 to 25 cover letters and resumes every week. And I had to go to the end of the hall in my dorm for that phone, that one phone that was on the wall at the end of the hallway. I had to go and make long distance phone calls from that one phone. 20 to 25 resumes and cover letters every week, go to the phone and make 20 to 25 calls every week to key entertainment executives because I wanted my 15-minute informational interview. No one ever took my call, but that's for a whole nother conversation. When did your love affair with music begin? And then I graduated from college, and I'm ready now. I'm ready to pursue this dream of working in the music industry. And so I literally, and my dad really didn't understand it, but I turned down significant jobs when I graduated from college because I had this dream, this passion, this thing called music that would not let me go. And so I went to an expo, resumes in hand, let's go. I'm gonna find me a job in the music industry. And so I'm walking around this expo and I meet a gentleman. And he actually works at a music distribution company in Cleveland. And he says to me, you know, if you can get a job in Cleveland, you can intern with me. Because the truth of the matter is, he couldn't afford me from a work standpoint, but he definitely told me I could intern. So here I am, I'm passionate, I just graduated from college, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna find me a job in the music industry. I've got this internship opportunity. So I'm working this expo floor, and I literally did just that. I secured a job in Cleveland. It wasn't for a record label, but it allowed me to get to Cleveland because that's where the gentleman worked who worked for the music distribution company, who said, get a job in Cleveland, you can intern with me. Check, did that. When did your love affair with music begin? So now I'm in Cleveland. I have this job. I'm excited. I'm going to get this internship. But the job that moved me to Cleveland, I had to work 60 to 80 hours a week. I never got to intern with him. But because of all of those phone calls that I made in college, I researched executives, and there was one executive that I absolutely followed everything she did, and that was Sylvia Rhone. And when I was in college, I first saw this article about Sylvia, and it said she started as a receptionist at Buddha Records. And eventually, when I was reading this article, she was the president of Atlantic Records. And so when I was in Cleveland, the company that moved me up there, I had this amazing opportunity to do different events all over the city. And so there was this one event, and Gerald Levert was there. Now, I knew everything about Sylvia Rhone because I've been researching her and calling her basically for 4.5, 5 years at this point. So the moment I saw Gerald, I ran straight to him. Oh my God, okay, you've got to introduce me to Sylvia Rhone. And he looked at me and was like, and who are you? And I was like, I'm Sherry Riley, and you have to introduce me to Sylvia Rhone. I know that with Levert, she was so instrumental in building your career. And now that she's the president of East West Records, her own label, she just gave you a solo deal. So I need you to introduce me to her. I've been researching her for 4.5 years. I need you to introduce me to her. And he looked at me like, okay, well, what do you do? And I said, I do marketing. And he was like, oh, well, I'm looking for marketing executives at my company. And this was the first time, guys, that it actually registered to me. You know you're talking to Gerald Levert right now, right? It hadn't even registered because I was so focused on Sylvia Rohn. And so literally in that moment, we talked about me as a marketing executive, and he said, send me your resume. Now, again, I had just graduated from college. I'm as green as the day is long. I didn't realize that he was about to leave to go on a promotional tour. So again, this was before cell phones. So when he left to go on this promo tour, he was gone. He was gone. But he did tell me, go ahead and just talk to my cousin, who's the president of my company. So literally for the next 9 months, once a month is how it started. I'd go to his office and meet with the president of the company. And then the one time a month ended up being 2 times a month. And after about 4 or 5 months, it ended up being about 3 times a month that I would go because I wanted this job. I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. And then it ended up about 9 months later that I literally was going to that office so much, sharing my marketing strategies. Here's another idea. Did you guys think about this? What can I do to help your artists? That finally the president of the company said, oh my God, you're always here. If you can find you a desk, you can stay and you can work part-time. Yeah, okay. My first shot in the entertainment industry. I started working at Gerald Levert's management company doing marketing part-time. When did your love affair with music begin? I got my first shot. And because it was part-time, I still needed more money to survive. So I ended up going to the record store. Now, for all my millennials, the record store is where we used to buy music. Okay. So I ended up getting a job part-time at the record store. And as I was sitting there dusting the CDs and putting the CDs on the shelf, I would literally dream about the day that an artist would say thank you to me in the credits. When did your love affair with music begin? And I worked with Gerald Levert's company for several years. And then I got that call. I got that call from LaFace Records. I got that call that said, we are looking for a marketing executive, and your name has been the one that continues to come up. And yes, that dream that I had when I was 14, 15 years old became a reality. I ended up as the head of marketing at LaFace Records, working with some of the most phenomenal artists, phenomenal, groundbreaking artists. I was doing the marketing for Toni Braxton, TLC, Usher, Outkast, Donnell Jones. I am literally living my dream, my dream. When did your love affair with music begin? And so here I am, literally in my mid-20s, making 6 figures, unlimited expense account, working with people that I love and admire, that I'm still colleagues and friends with to this day, working with artists that have transcended and become global icons. I loved what I was doing. I loved who I was working with. I'm literally sitting at the feet every day, learning from Antonio L.A. Reid, Kenny Babyface Edmonds, some of the biggest music producers in the world. This was my dream. And I literally crashed and burned. I crashed and burned. And with respect to time, I won't go into details, but out of that is where I ended up realizing the power of exponential living. And what I was doing at that time is I was spending 100% of my time on 10% of who I was. I was living in the dream of what I loved, but I literally crashed and burned. But here's the truth. Even in me crashing and burning, my love affair with music never wavered. It never wavered. And here's the thing about long-term relationships. You always grow and learn and get some valuable lessons out of that journey. And with this long-term love affair that I've had with music, it's given me some very powerful lessons.